See how the cauldron's looking. Ah, look at that witch's brew. Beautiful. You can see how the wax cups in that vigorous boil are just getting churned up and cleaned really, really well. Hey, bee folks, Ryan Williamson here of Sourwood Farm. I wanted to go over how I go about cleaning cell cups for grafting. It's springtime and starting to do some queen rearing. Thought it'd be a good chance to take advantage of a cold day and get things ready. So what I'm working with here is I use JZBZ cell cups. I'll grab some out of a brand new bag. So they look like this. They're wonderful for grafting. I basically put them into a wooden bar. They can twist and lock in. The only downside is after you use them, you end up with a bunch, that look like yay after the virgins have emerged. And I just hate throwing things away. Over the years, I've tried different ways of cleaning. For a bit, I would try boiling water and end up with all these spots of wax on it, and the bees didn't care for that so much. Then I went to trying my solar wax melter and put the bars, aiming down with a whole line of cell cups, so the wax would drip out. That kind of worked okay. It would certainly sterilize things, but the royal jelly would get dried up in there. Then for a while, what I used for years that worked pretty darn good was to use a wax, basically molten beeswax, dump all the cups in there and shift them around, and the beeswax would kind of both sterilize and clean out a good bit. But again, the royal jelly, if it was left in there, didn't all the way clean out. Then I heard about people using this method. So this is using basically washing soda, which spawnifies the wax. It turns it into more of a soap, and if I understand it correctly, then it lets go of whatever the surface is, so it makes it much easier to clean it. It's not perfect, but it seems to be working pretty well. So this is about 1.5 gallons of warm water, and I'm going to pour in about a cup of washing soda. And then we'll put these cell cups in. As you can see, the wax moths got in there. Oh, they're made some webbing. Break that up so I can pour all that in. And, well, yeah, this will be interesting to see how the webbing turns out. I'm finding that if I do a large volume of water, typically I'd be doing a lot more cells than this, but I just wanted to get myself started out for the year. The other reason is I made a big mistake. These are cell cups I cleaned at the end of last year, probably 1,000 in there. And I was showing a friend how clean they were, taking pictures of it and texting him. Had it on the edge of my workbench, went to do grafting and knocked the whole bucket with my elbow. All the cell cups ended up down. Well, I've swept the floor a little bit. It was covered in sawdust. And so now these are all dusty. So I thought I would just go ahead and do the spawnifying thing. And then when I go to do the rinses, I'll add these dirty ones in to get all the dust off. Just hopefully that'll add acceptance. Add those in too. When I'm grafting, if, pulling, not all of them always taken, I would have cells that, cups that weren't accepted by the bees, and I saved those. So I'll go ahead and clean those one more time. This is going to, basically, I'm going to get this to a rolling boil and let it churn. Let the boil do the work for me. I'll just let it roll for a while. I'm going to go do other things. I'm going to pause the video, and then I'll try to come back and kind of show how that works. But the basic process is once this is boiled, and I'll strain it off. Then I'm going to do probably 2 or 3 rinse boils. And that's just to get all the excess wax off. And typically that rolling action also helps loosen up and release the royal jelly that gets kind of clumped up in the bottom of cells. I should have mentioned that earlier. Oh, and one other thing that I think is really important to talk about is the market's also being flooded by cheap Chinese cell cups. And I made the mistake of buying some. They were marketed as if they were JZBZ brand, made in America. Come to read the fine print, it said JZBZ style. I wasn't too happy about the small business that did that to me. Won't name names, but I've let them know. I got the cups, and my acceptance rate was maybe 20%. I can't remember exactly, but it was really, really poor. Typically, if I graft a cell bar of 20, I'll get about 18 takes. I'm not a perfect grafter, but that's 90% or so acceptance rate. So when you get a acceptance rate that low, I was like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. That's when I really looked at the cell cups a little more and like, okay, well, maybe I'll do the wax. I'll get a wax coating on them, and that'll help. Well, turns out this is one I finally found that, see how that warped? It's a different plastic, and it couldn't handle the heat, and they deformed. I got a different brand of Chinese ones. I think they're in here. They're kind of black. I think this was from AliExpress. They can handle the heat. They also had a really poor acceptance rate, but once I've cleaned them, especially did a wax coating on them, then they were accepted. The bees would take to them. So I just think it's worth paying a few extra bucks, not cheaping out, and getting the real deal, the JZB style. And you can tell if you're getting the right thing because, well, I'm not going to be able to show it in the video probably, but right around the rim here, it actually says the name on it, and that is definitely not showing up. But anyway, look at the cell cups. I think it's worth paying a little extra to get good quality. Something's up with the cheap plastic they're using, and I'm guessing it's off-gassing that is making the bees reject the larva. Who knows? Whatever it is, it's not worth messing with, in my opinion. Okay, I will stop this now, and we'll check back in a little bit. All right, let's check in on the experiment. I should have mentioned earlier, I'm doing this in my bee shed where I do grafting so that the fumes can exit and not stink up my shop. Ah, look at that witch's brew. Ah, beautiful. So you can see the vigorous boil is doing a great job of doing the labor of agitating and stirring. Whoa, too much fume. All right, let's see if that cleans off. All right, so what I'm going to do now is it's been going for about 10 minutes or so while I've been away, and I'm just going to unplug it. And we'll let that calm down and cool. The wax will go to the top. The plastic cups will settle to the bottom. I can skim the wax off, then pour everything else out through a straightener, and then I'll add more water and do like 2 or 3 rinses with the just pure boiling water, none of the washing soda in the last runs. So there we go. We'll just step away. So it takes a little bit of time, but actually not that much labor. I just have to stop in here and there and check on it, and that's it. Okay, it's cooled now, so I'm going to take this outside. That's actually still pretty warm, but I think it's cooled enough for the wax to be more solid. Well, maybe not enough. Well, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. So you can see how that is kind of congealed in a funny way. I guess that's the spawnifying part. And the cell cups should be mostly at the bottom. Nice windy day out. Let's see if I can adjust the angle better. Now, I'm going to try to pour, just in case I lose a cup or two. So let's look at the cups. They're looking pretty good already. Still some wax on them. So we'll put those back here. And I've gone ahead and brought some more water in a bucket. One thing I probably should have done is, let me see if I can, something to wipe the edge. Just a little bit. More wax I can get off, seems like the better. For the next few rounds. Yeah. All right. I'm going to plug this up, let it roll, and walk away, and come back in a little while. Second round. Looking a lot clearer, isn't it? This time, I don't think I need to let it cool like I did last time. So let's just take this out. Do another pour. They're looking a lot better. Still seeing some wax stuck on them. I kind of wonder if I shouldn't add a little more washing soda to this rinse. There's a little bit of stuff in there. Yeah. So we'll do a super accurate. Huh. I also need to get some water, don't I? Here we go. Philip. Right. Plug it in and walk away. Okay. Looks like doing the second washing soda did spawnify a little bit more wax that was stuck on the cup, so maybe that was worth doing. Probably should have done 2 of those first and then 2 rinses. Oh. Dump this water off and I'll get one more batch. So this would make a lot more sense if I was doing a huge load of maybe 1,000 cups versus this little one. Oh wow, they look beautiful. Very clean. But I want to definitely get that soda off. Some of these cups I've been using for, at least a dozen years. I haven't bought the colors in a long time. I mostly just buy smoke now. And there's one that has a little bit of royal jelly still in it. The rest of these are looking good. And let's see. I'll use a nail head, but let's see if this will get the royal jelly out. Yep, there it goes. Nasty stuff. And now we'll dump in all the ones that got dusty. Ugh, whoopsie. Oh yeah, and I was brilliant enough to have all the clean cups in this bucket and leave the lid off all fall and winter, so that added to the dirtiness. So I figured doing the water would clean them faster than try to use air or something. So my thought was I'm going to be filming all the labor that goes into this. Not obviously filming all the time. It's just sitting there boiling alone with me not here. So you're seeing the entire amount of labor along with talking, which I normally wouldn't do by myself. So yeah, and we'll walk away. All right, last cleaning. Yeah, I dropped a few. There we go. Spick and span. Almost like brand new. One thing I realized I forgot to mention, one thing I don't like about these Chinese ones is, let's see if I can do a demonstration. With the JZBZ, they slip in, there's a slight oval on this little stem, and it will lock into the wood. So now that doesn't fall out. The Chinese ones, they don't have that oval, and they fall out. And let's see, this one is a different Chinese one. Also doesn't have that oval. This one went in a little bit tighter, but it's not nearly as snug as the JZBZ one. I can't even get out after it's been. So that's a big benefit to the JZBZ as well, just usability, besides being a lot better plastic quality. And there they all are, nice and clean. I normally wouldn't dump them out on a table like this, but I did that so I could pull out the colored ones and put them in wax. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do an experiment and see if there's any difference in acceptance between ones that have been cleaned in the wax versus just straight up water. So I decided to grab just the color one, so it's very easy for me to alternate, smoke, color, and then very easy to tell later if there's any difference in acceptance. I'm not expecting, I don't remember seeing much difference when I switched, but thought it'd be kind of fun. And it allows me to show this method of cleaning. So basically, they've just been dumped in here. This is my grandmother's old pot, and I just use a piece of 1/8" hardware cloth and scoop up a bunch and then shake it. And the idea there is to get as much wax out as possible of the cups, and then put them into a bucket. And we'll just do a few more. Get them all out of here. Oh, it smells so good. It seems like, this is certainly more natural to the bees to have them have a beeswax coating. If there is any issues with the plastic, especially the Chinese ones, it did make a difference to coat them with wax. I had better acceptance. Well, that is, with the ones that didn't warp. The ones that warped were just trash. They never did me any good. I think that is almost all of them. So I don't have many colored ones to experiment with, but we'll... And then once to the bucket. And so the idea there with the shaking is I want to get extra wax out so that there isn't a big puddle in the bottom of one of these cell cups. So there we go. They look beautiful, don't they? And I wish you could smell them. Wow, it's pretty incredible. Well, I'll do a follow-up video to show how if there was any difference in acceptance, but I'll probably post this video as it is. And yeah, just curious if others clean their cells and what you found. To me, it's not that much work to save, a good bit of money on my cell cups. I typically do about 1,000 at a time, so each time I do that, it's $100 less of my money out of my pocket, and I don't know, a little bit less plastic going to landfill. That seems good too. All right, thanks a lot for watching.